Bill Mitchell with the Mitchell Report. Thank you for stopping by for the show this evening. We had about 2,000 folks watch the show yesterday, so thank you so much. We really appreciate you tuning in. We know that you have a lot of choices out there and shows you can watch and great content that you can put into your brain. But we hope that the content you get here is something special, the analysis is something special, and that we will encourage and motivate you and educate you on the issues, maybe some things that you hadn't thought about going forward, because the Democrats' only hope to defeat us in the midterms is if we just don't show up, if we feel discouraged, if we feel confused, if we sit on the sidelines because we feel like, well, what's the point? They'll just cheat anyway. But I believe that we've taken enough steps on voter integrity. We've, I think, passed voter integrity laws in like 18 new states now. We have special software programs that are watching voter registrations to make sure the Democrats don't cheat on those. We've passed laws with the Supreme Court in states where drop boxes are no longer legal. Many little things are adding up in our favor right now. In the latest midterm polls, two of the most reliable ones, Trafalgar and Rasmussen, have us at a +5 and +6 in the generic ballot. Folks, that is extraordinarily high. You need to understand that when they ask the generic ballot question, do you prefer to have a Democrat? Do you prefer to have a Republican in office? That poll tends to have a bias of 5 points towards Democrats. What does that mean? That means that for Democrats to keep the status quo, pardon me, for nothing to change at all, Democrats would need to be +5 in that poll. So if the poll is +5 Republicans or +6 Republicans, that means that it's really +10 to +11 in our favor. And in 2010, the last major red wave election that we all point back to, where we flipped 63 seats in the House and threw Nancy Pelosi out of the speakership, we were a R+3 on the generic ballot. And Joe Biden was not in office, but Barack Obama was at about 47% approval rating now. So we're looking at a contrast between that and Joe Biden at 35% and a +5 to +6 in the generic ballot. I think that will grow as we get closer to the midterms and people start taking a harder look. You know, some people are just starting to pay attention now. A lot of folks really don't even pay attention until about a week before the election. So a lot can change between now and then, but I think it's going to move away from the Democrats even more and towards the Republicans, because gas prices will be going up in the next few months. Inflation will be getting worse. As the weather gets cooler, people start to look at their heating bills and start to freak out over that. I think the case for the Republican Party will grow even stronger. And we see on the House side, they're coming out with some great new ideas that they're going to be running on. Okay, let's talk about the two-tiered justice system in America. We complain about this all the time because it is just so annoying and frustrating to watch. Because it seems like Democrats get away with bloody murder and Republicans are frog marched and perp walked in front of the media for things we don't even know what they are. Just, accusations of process crimes. We went through years and years of the Russiagate investigation with Bill Barr and Durham, and they just couldn't seem to indict anybody. Brennan, Comey, Strzok, the whole crowd engaged in what was probably the greatest political crime in history that made Watergate look like nothing by comparison, and no indictments. Hillary Clinton, bleach bidding, her emails, which include classified information that was available on the internet. This is not classified information in some vault in a basement in Mar-a-Lago. This was classified documents, top secret documents on Hillary's server that anybody, any hacker could have gotten. no indictments. And yet, every time you turn around, another Republican is being indicted, another Republican is being raided. Has Hunter Biden's home been raided by the FBI? They sat on his laptop knowing it was full of crimes, as we're seeing now in the great new My Son Hunter movie that's so popular. Full of crimes, full of not just the child molestation, not just the drug use, but international intrigue, money laundering, kickbacks to his dad, using his dad's power and influence as the vice president to earn money for the big guy. You think Joe Biden bought all those big mansions on a government salary? And yet, there have been no indictments of Joe Biden. There have been no indictments of Hunter Biden. We understand the investigation they've been doing of Hunter Biden for years now has just trickled down to nothing. They're going to be talking about a drug charge or a weapons charge against him, some minor deal. They've completely taken all of the international intrigue, all of the influence peddling off the table. That's not even being considered. That was the big crime. It's not even being considered. And now we find out, and I found out, that a federal grand jury in D.C. is investigating Trump's Save America super PAC. You know, this is a multi-$100 million super PAC that is being used by Republican candidates and issue ads and this sort of thing to help us win the midterms. And so what is a grand jury investigating? Are they investigating Joe Biden? Are they investigating Act Blue? Now we know for a fact that Act Blue is laundering and has in the past had unverified small donations where foreign countries could buy like a gift card, like a Visa gift card. It could make hundreds of millions of dollars in small donations to Act Blue that Act Blue could then launder out to all the Democrat candidates. It was untraceable. And they initially got caught on that and they backed off, but then they started doing it again. And we know for a fact that Act Blue is being used by Ukraine to launder that money that we gave them back, the $60 billion back to the DNC. You can look at the timeline, folks. The DNC was dying on donations. They were far behind the RNC. And then we sent that $40 billion to Ukraine, and instantaneously the DNC had massive donations. Warnock in Georgia, $80 million war chest for just a Senate. Kelly in Arizona, $50 million. Where do you think this money came from? It came from Ukraine. I guarantee you. I bet my entire career that that is true. And yet, do you have a grand jury looking at Act Blue? No, you do not. Do you have a grand jury looking at illegal money laundering from foreign sources into our elections? No, you do not. You have a grand jury looking at Trump's super PAC. And folks, you know, here's the thing. We have Republican DAs in the United States. The only DAs in America are not from the Southern District of New York that's going after Steve Bannon. We have Republican DAs. Where are they? Where are the Republican DAs that are indicting Democrats? Where are the Republican DAs that are creating grand juries to investigate Democrats? Where are the Republican DAs? Do they even exist? Are they asleep at the wheel? We only hear about these DAs from the Southern District of New York, but none of the Republican DAs from anywhere else in the whole country. Where are they? When are we going to learn to fight fire with fire? We're in a knife fight in the middle of the street, and we're sticking to the Queensberry rules. We've got to fight fire with fire, folks. We've got to have some DAs in this country that have got us set, and we'll go after these Democrats. When President Trump is back in office, whoever he taps to become the next president as his heir apparent, if he decides not to run, We need an attorney general that is an attack dog, a junkyard dog, vicious, indicting, prosecuting, going after these Democrat leaders, because I tell you what, they will never back off their criminality until we throw some of them in prison. I guarantee you. And the first time you see a major Democrat leader going to prison in that blue jumpsuit, why did I say blue? Blue jumpsuit because they're Democrats. In that orange jumpsuit, it's going to change everything. But we need to have some DAs that have got some nerve. We need to have an attorney general that is willing to fight fire with fire and use the power of that office. I want to see Fauci in prison for killing millions of people around the world, for funding gain of function research. I want to see Mayorkas in prison for letting 4.5 million illegals across our border. I want to see Merrick Garland impeached for abusing his power of his office. When are Republicans ever going to get tough, folks? Democrats are in this. They are willing to do anything to win. Now, I'm not saying that we should cheat like they do. I'm not saying that we should lie like they do. But we have the truth on our side, and we need to be forceful. We need to be strong. We don't need any more Attorney General Barrs. We don't need any more Durhams who have been investigating forever. And nobody of note ever gets indicted. So, grand jury that's investigating January 6th is now probing the creation and the fundraising of Trump's PAC. How shocking, right? Apparently, only Trump gets investigated for his fundraising efforts. Hillary Clinton and the DNC were accused of using state chapters as strawmen to launder approximately $84 million in an effort to evade campaign donation limits in 2016, of course. We know that in Barack Obama's original campaign, they turned off the thing on the credit cards that checks where the donations are coming from. And you had all these donations for $8.25 and $25.15. Why were they unusual sized donations? Because they're foreign exchange rates. This is foreign money being laundered into the DNC. I guarantee you, the DNC was so far behind the RNC in fundraising until we gave that money to Ukraine. All of a sudden, the DNC's got $1 gazillion. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Steve Bannon, who we all love from the War Room, he was involved in that fundraising to raise money for the wall. Did a good thing, raised money for the wall. Congress couldn't give Trump any money for the wall. Raised many millions of dollars. They built big sections of wall down there. And, the federal government went after him for some sort of, criminality. How dare he support the wall? And President Trump pardoned him for that. Well, people got to realize that presidential pardons are only at the federal level. So the states can go after them. And guess who's going after Steve Bannon? Guess who? The Southern District of New York, where their DAs swore in their campaigns that they would pursue Trump to the gates of hell. That is not how you do justice in America. You do not run as a DA saying, I am specifically going to attack a political opponent in my job. And so once again, the DA from the Southern District of New York are going after a Republican. When are we ever going to have a DA who is a Republican grow a set and go after some of these Democrats? I'm so sick and tired of hearing about the Southern District of New York. Steve Bannon is turning himself into New York prosecutors to face new charges 2 months before the midterm, stemming from his fundraising efforts to build the wall between the United States and Mexico, despite having received a pardon from former President Donald Trump. They wait 2 weeks before the midterm. Incredible. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and New York Attorney General Letitia James, she ran on pursuing Trump. She ran on pursuing witch hunts. Are slated to hold a news conference this afternoon and announce the new charges of Bannon, who's been defiant in the face of prosecutors and subpoenas in the past, appears likely to plead not guilty. I don't see what New York has to do with the border wall. Do you? I mean, how do they even have standing? Maybe I don't know. How do they even have standing on to go after him on this? And of course, Bannon was perp walked in front of all the media. You never see it. When was the last time you ever saw a Democrat perp walked in front of the media? Never happens. And yet, when a Republican is indicted, I don't care if he's indicted for jaywalking, he's going to be perp walked, handcuffed in front of the media. They're talking about the border wall here that they built. What does he need to be cuffed for? Is he a violent criminal? No. Folks, it's just absolutely ridiculous. We need to toughen up in our party. We need to pick an attorney general. We need to pick DAs who are tough, and we'll go after these Democrats. And as soon as we indict a few of these Democrats, and as soon as we put a few of these Democrats in orange jumpsuits, I guarantee you the rest of them will back off. But why should they back off now? They get away with everything. Why should they behave in an honest manner? They get away with everything. This is fascinating. Former top FBI official, let's pivot real quick to Mar-a-Lago. Former top FBI official said the warrant used to search for President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence may be thrown out due to its scope. I've been saying this from the very beginning. These warrants need to be specific as far as the parts of the house they're looking in and what they're looking for. And this warrant was overly broad in the extreme. On Monday, a federal judge sided with Trump's lawyers and issued an order approving a special master. That's an independent third party that will look at the evidence to determine if it was properly taken, if it is subject to client attorney privilege, if it is subject to executive privilege, so on and so forth. And this is normal. When they raided Cohen's offices, they had a special master. This is normal. And yet the DOJ does not want this for some reason. You would think the DOJ would want the special master because the whole world is suspicious of what they did. So wouldn't it be in their favor to have an objective third party looking at this evidence to make sure that it was properly collected? And yet they don't. They want to operate in the dark of night. And now they've even filed a paper. They appealed the Judge Cannon that appointed the special master. They're now appealing this. And this is something that Attorney General Barr, deep state hack, who deceived most of us, he said this was going to happen. They were going to appeal. Why are they appealing? Why wouldn't they want sunlight? Why wouldn't they want a special master to say, yes, the DOJ behaved properly here, but they don't want sunlight. They want darkness. They're like cockroaches. They only want darkness because they're lying and they're cheating and they're stealing and they want to do it in the dark of night. And I hope that this appeal fails and that Judge Cannon's special master remains. And they'll probably appeal and appeal and appeal and appeal. And they just want to drag it out so that we don't get a special master for the midterm so they can leak and leak and leak. No special master. This is their plan, folks. They are deceivers. They are like their father, the devil. They are liars. And this is why we must work hard and do everything in our power to defeat these people because the future of America hangs in the balance. The future of this great experiment, this great country, hangs in the balance. This is on Judge sided with Trump. I think the government would be concerned. There's a concern that the search warrant itself was overly broad from the get-go, this former FBI individual said. Former top FBI counterintelligence official Kevin Brock said in a Tuesday interview, noting that the warrant allowed for the government to look for every document that was generated during Trump's tenure as president. That just seems too inexcusably overbroad, Brock told Just the News. Now there's indications that the FBI collected even more than what they were authorized to collect. We need the special master to go through that. And what this individual is saying is that literally, if this warrant was overbroad, then everything collected at Mar-a-Lago is thrown out. It's all fruit of the poisonous tree. it cannot be used as evidence. And I agree with this statement here. I believe that it was overly broad. This was a fishing expedition. And President Trump had been telling his White House people shortly before he left office that he needed to declassify and preserve the documents from Russiagate because he felt like once Biden came into office, those documents were left in the White House, that they would be shredded and destroyed. And many people believe the reason why the FBI went after this trove of documents at Mar-a-Lago, which Trump had declassified, had been classified, were declassified, were Russiagate documents, and they were taking them out because they wanted to save themselves. They wanted to save themselves before Republicans took back Congress. All right, folks, got a great interview coming up. Have Steve Elliott. Who is Steve Elliott? He is running against Rashida Tlaib in Michigan 12. I think it used to be Michigan 13, switched redistricting Michigan 12. He's the Republican nominee. He's a former Marine, great guy. Now, this is a district where in the primaries, Democrats turned out about twice as many voters as Republicans. So you might say, well, how can we win a district like that? Well, I'll tell you how. Because a lot of Democrats are not far left socialists and liberals. They're just traditional Democrats. They've been Democrats all their lives. Their parents were Democrats. Maybe they were union members, so on and so forth. They're traditional Democrats. And many of these Democrats feel that the Democrat Party has left them behind and has gone too far left for them. Now there's an opportunity for someone like Stephen to have a victory here, especially this is a red wave election. Remember, in 2018, a blue wave election, we had seats that Trump had won by 15 and 20 points that we lost. It's possible. It's possible to win these seats. Let's go ahead and jump in this interview with Stephen. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you'll pay attention to his website, Stephen Elliott for Congress, and reach out to him and support him financially, and also help him with this campaign. Let's jump right into this. Here we go. Folks, welcome back to Campaign Corner. Campaign Corner is part of Your Voice Studios. It's an extension of the Mitchell Report. We interviewed some of the top MAGA candidates from across the country that are running to unseat Democrats. And right now we have with us Stephen Elliott. He's a former Marine, and he is running against Rashida Tlaib. Boo! Nobody can stand her. She's terrible. And she is in Michigan 12. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Bill, thank you for having me. I really much appreciate this and being able to get the word out there to get information and get to the voters that Rashida Tlaib and some of the squad members are still running, and we need to get them out of Congress and get back to work in where with American values.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now Steve is a former Marine, and now he's running for Congress. Is this your first time running, Steve?
Yes, this is my first time running. I was in the Marine Corps. I grew up very poor in a small city and just in Metro Detroit. Joined the Marine Corps because I didn't have any money for college. My parents couldn't afford it. So joining the Marines, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It completely changed my life. And I think anybody who's contemplating taking on this high student loan debt, getting degrees that can't pay for anything, maybe consider going into the military, serving your country, and getting college paid for. It's a great trade-off without, getting that student debt. And then after the Marine Corps, I opened some small businesses, became a successful business owner, and then it's just seeing what's going on in the community and seeing what these squad and how we go from having inexpensive gas and be able to go on vacation with their families to not even be able to afford food.
Right.
We're more concerned about electrical cars that cost $80,000 that no one can buy. This is what really made me decide to run, and it was really to run against Rashida because she just doesn't represent anybody in Michigan. She doesn't represent anybody in the Michigan 12th Congressional District, and she doesn't really represent anybody in the United States, and she doesn't bring any American values to the table, and that really helps the people.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that Democrats are waking up. You've always got the far left that they are ideologues, and to them, leftism or progressivism is kind of their religion. You're really not going to go talk them out of it. But there's a lot of Democrats who are traditional Democrats. Their parents were Democrats. Their grandparents were Democrats. And they just don't like what they're seeing. And they feel like the new Democrat Party under Biden and under Rashida has left them behind. And there's an opportunity for us to bring them on board with us. Would you agree with that?
I completely agree with that, Bill. You know, the traditional Democrats aren't hateful people. They don't believe in, riots and, defunding the police and raising taxes so that, we cannot afford to do anything.
Yeah.
These woke policies, don't help anybody. The traditional Democrats, would rather have their children learn, financial education in school and be able to be financially set when they get out and how to live a life, prosper life, versus learning critical race theory to teach their children to be victims.
Right.
These policies that they've introduced do nothing to help the American people, regardless of what party they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, we know that Rashida is a radical member of the squad. This is about the furthest left of the Democrat Party. And the Democrat Party, as I said, has left their base behind. Talk to us about the redistricting that took place in this area. Now, this is Michigan 12 now. It used to be something else, right?
It did. It did. They really broke up the district. It was, a couple different districts, and now it's the new 12th district, which is probably one of the most diverse districts in all the United States. We went through and did the data points. We looked at, the demographics on race, religion, income levels. It varies from all over, and we're within two different counties. And yes, it is a stronger Democratic voting district, but there's a reason for that. In the inner city, in Detroit, the areas that the Democrats haven't really done anything for the people to help them prosper. There's different religious and race things. So with even the Democrats cannot get behind Rashida Tlaib. And, when I went out and we knocked on doors and we got petitions signed, and we just telling people that Rashida Tlaib is running in the district, they don't want her as a representative because they know she doesn't represent American values, Michigan values. She's doing nothing to help the community. So it doesn't. All she is she's a megaphone for anti-Semitism. She's a megaphone for communists. She's a megaphone for Marxism, and it doesn't help anybody in any community.
Yeah, absolutely. Now she has made some very anti-Semitic, anti-Israel statements. Isn't that right?
She is just a talking point for anti-Israel, which anti-Israel does nothing to put food on the table. We are an ally with Israel. It doesn't lower taxes. She's literally in Congress trying to use her own personal beliefs against Israel as her platform instead of really focusing on serving the people in the community. Right. She doesn't serve. What has she done in the last 4 years for her congressional district? Even with these woke policies, had she done improve the lives of American citizens in her current district, she would have no problem winning this district. But that's not the case. She hasn't done anything to bring any value to those people in Michigan. She's not represented them at all. She's just represented this woke squad policy left of defund the police, critical race theory. She's more concerned about pronouns than paying bills.
Yeah. I tell you what, okay, let's be realistic. For you to win this district, you're going to have a lot of Democrat voters cross over and vote for you. I looked at the primary statistics. Democrats turned out about twice as many voters as the Republicans did. So we're going to have moderates. We're going to have now in Michigan. Can independents vote in either election, or is it open? How does it work in Michigan?
It's an open ballot. You can, so the primaries. It can go either way. So you can do split ticket during the general election in Michigan. So you can cross party lines. You can vote. You can, I recommend voting your policies.
Right.
Vote what helps you in your family, pay your bills, pay your taxes, be able to afford health care so you can live a normal, happy life and enjoy things. Unlike Rashida Tlaib, who tells people that we should raise more taxes, you should be locked down, but she's going to go to weddings unmasked. She's going to go do all of these things. It's do as I say, not as I do. And she brings no real value except she wants to try to stay in power so she can have this luxury life of being an anti-Semitic and being anti-Israel, and let's defund the police and let's have more crime, so you're going to need to rely on the government.
Right, right. Well, what we need for Stephen to win is we need a big turnout amongst the Republican base. We also need Democrat voters, or maybe not dedicated leftists, but are traditional Democrats who are tired of the Rashid Tlaib type of government, tired of the Joe Biden high inflation, tired of these high taxes, tired of the high crime rates, and want to give someone like Stephen, a former Marine, a very pragmatic, just sort of America first guy, and give him a chance to lead in Washington for them. And that's what we'd say. Give Steve a chance. Try something new. If you keep doing what you're doing and you're not getting what you're not going to get what you want. So you need to try something new, and we need to try Steve. Steve, how can people reach out to you and support your campaign?
They can find us on the web. Our website is StephenElliottForCongress.com. They can just go right to the website and donate. You can find us on Instagram under Stephen Elliott MI. Donations are what's going to win this. Rashida Tlaib is very quiet, and it's just getting the information out to the voters that, one, Rashida Tlaib is actually running in this new 12th district because she's very quiet here. They're not saying anything about it. People just are unaware because of the redistricting. And two, letting them know there's an alternative candidate who's really more an America First candidate, lower taxes, lower health care. We need higher police presence in these inner cities so we can bring businesses down there. We can build these people up. So, Rashida represents none of that. So just getting, small donations. I need 1 million people that don't like Rashida Tlaib to give $5, and we get all the information out there, and we get Rashida, we get AOC, we get all of these anti-American communists out of the U.S. government.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, this is going to be a wave election. Right now, Republicans are at about a +6 in the generic ballot. What does that mean? That means when they just ask people, who do you want to be running Congress, Republican or Democrat? Republicans are +6. This poll has got a built-in sampling bias towards Democrats at 5 points. So literally, we're really about a +11 right now. In 2010, we flipped 63 net seats. We were only a +3, and Obama was at 47% approval right now. Biden is about 35% approval, and we're +6. If there's ever a time where a Republican could take this seat, it's this time. So folks, get to work, reach out to Stephen, go to his website, Stephen Elliott for Congress, and in this case, it's FOR, not the number 4, because some people have the number 4 in there, right? Okay, Stephen Elliott for Congress. Reach out to him, donate, but also donate your efforts and help him to make phone calls, knock on doors, and so on and so forth. Because, folks, this is a chance to get someone like Rashida Tlaib from the squad out of Congress and put somebody like Stephen in there. Steve, I'll give you the last opportunity here. Why should people vote for you?
People should vote for me because I bring American values. I'm a small business owner. I'm a poor kid. I was a poor guy who learned the value of money and learned how to become the American dream and be successful. And I want to be able to give that opportunity and show that and create that and teach that to members of the community. And what Congress needs is it needs business people running the country and managing money and learning how to do the right thing with other people's money versus socialists and Marxists who are just using it as an open checkbook to push their own socialist agenda and actually change American values and how we do things. We have the lowest, fourth graders have the lowest test scores in 30 years in the United States from these socialist agendas. We need to get back to becoming, the number one. These kids need to be educated. They need to be able, they want to move into this whole new infrastructure. We need to educate these kids and be able to build this and actually be able to maintain, have the number one economy in the world.
Fantastic, wonderful. Stephen Elliott is running in Michigan 12 against Rashida Tlaib. Steve, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll have you back on after you've won, and we can talk about your victory.
Thank you very much, Bill. I really appreciate your help today in the interview. Thank you.
Thanks. We'll see you soon. Thanks, folks. Thanks for watching that Campaign Corner interview with Stephen Elliott. He's running in Michigan 12 against Rashida Tlaib. He needs your help. Reach out to him at Stephen Elliott for Congress.com. Donate your time. Make phone calls, knock on doors, see what you can do to help. Because you never know. In a red wave election, you can even flip seats like this. And wouldn't it be great to send anti Semitic, anti American Rashida Tlaib packing and replace her with a great Marine hero like Steve Elliott? Folks, thank you so much for watching the show. You know, we need your support to keep the show going. This is a very high quality show. We spend a lot of money on our production, and we're both advertiser supported and fan supported. Now, if you'd like to donate to this show and support us with a few dollars, you can set up a monthly donation with us. You can do a one-time donation, and it helps a lot. Trust me. Trust me. And you can go to Give Send Go, which is the Christian giving site. It's better than a GoFundMe, right? Okay, givesendgo.com / The Mitchell Report. If you go there, givesendgo.com / The Mitchell Report, you can make a donation, whether it be a one-time donation or a monthly donation. And it really keeps us going, keeps the lights on, folks. Keeps the lights on, folks. And I believe this show is going to be absolutely essential as we go into the midterms. If you enjoy us, please support us. Also, one of our big sponsors is Goldco. You know, a lot of the experts out there are saying that the stock market has not seen the bottom. We got a long ways to go. If you've got your stocks invested, your 401k, and you're seeing half of your retirement evaporate, maybe you should diversify and get into some gold and silver. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she said that she had heard, although silver is down a bit and gold is down a bit, I think silver is down like $8 from its high or something like that, that the future looks very bright for these. And she had heard a price target of as much as $75 on silver. I don't know. I'm not a financial analyst. I'm not a legal person who's certified to give you financial advice, but I think that you should at least look into it and talk to people that are specialists in it and find out what they have to say. So if you go to yourvoice.news/goldco, there's a little form you can fill out there, and you put in your name and your phone number and your email address, and they will reach out to you. They'll send you a free kit. You can read about it, so on and so forth. So at least you'll be educated. And we've had close to $300,000 invested already from our fans with Goldco, and they've been very, very happy with their investment. And I believe they've got a deal right now where you invest $100,000 with them, and they will give you $10,000 in free silver. So that's like 10% on your money, just right up front. Bam, like that. Pretty good deal. So definitely check them out, and that way you support us as well. Okay. Next topic we have, yes, folks, the red wave is real. We're having a lot of information from pollsters and so on and so forth that said Democrats are resurgent. All of a sudden, the red wave is gone, and Democrats are resurgent. Well, we still know that on Rasmussen and Trafalgar polls, we're still at 5 and 6 point on the generic ballot. That's huge. And why would there be suddenly a surge in reports, or not reports, but support for Democrats? I'll tell you why. This is why it's happening. Because they wildly oversampled Democrats in these polls. A recent major study came out and said that I believe 39% of Americans identify as conservative, only 27% identify as liberal. So why would the average poll have an only 24% Republican sample when 39% identify as conservative? Because they're lying to you. That's how they cheat, is they change the sample. So if the sample is 31 to 33% Democrats and only 24% Republicans, it's going to skew everything. And the reason why the Democrats' approval rating and so on and so forth, and Biden's approval rating has increased is that he was not getting support from Democrats initially because he was not being liberal enough. Well, he passed all this Build Back Better crap, all this climate change garbage, and so on and so forth. And now some of those Democrats who were not approving of him are coming home. And because they're wildly oversampled in the polls, they make him go up in the polls. You understand how it works? I'm not kidding. If you look at the average typical poll, only 22 to 24% of the people in the poll are Republicans, and yet 39% of Americans consider themselves conservative. Yes, they're lying. It's a bald-faced lie. It's a bald-faced lie. Back in the 2016 election cycle, they were using D plus 12, D plus 16 samples. It's madness. It's complete fiction. It's propaganda. But folks, remember this, that when you look at the midterm, we often compare this to 2010 when we flipped 63 seats in the House. We remember we only started off with 180 seats then. We have 211 now. So we're already 31 points ahead of where we were in that election cycle. So if we flip just 32 more seats, we have equaled the red wave of 2010 as far as the result is concerned. Now we're doing better than we were in 2010 because back then we only had a +3 advantage in the generic poll. Now it's +6. Back then, Barack Obama was at 47% approval rating. Joe Biden's about 35% approval rating. So it would not be unusual for us to flip an additional 40 to 60 seats in the House, which would put us ahead of where we were in 2010. But even if we just match 2010, that's still a massive red wave. And I just read an article. They said, oh, the Republican red wave is reduced to a trickle. They're only expecting a 30-seat flip. Well, that would equal what we did in 2010 because we're already 31 seats ahead of where we started in 2010. Always be careful when you're working with Democrats and numbers because they say that figures lie and liars figure, and that is talking about them. They can make the numbers say anything they want them to say. Anything they want them to say. But as we get closer to the midterms and people start paying attention, you're going to have a massive shift further in the direction of the Republicans because heating bills are going to start to go up. Gas is going to start to get more expensive as China's economy recovers a bit. We can't tap the oil reserves forever. We use that up. Stocks are going to continue to fall. Nothing is working in the Democrats' favor, folks. And also, we're going to be running on a great platform going forward. We heard from John Fetterman that apparently he's agreed to a debate sometime in October against Oz. We'll see if that really happens or not. I keep hearing that his health is really bad. The guy's had a stroke. He's in bad shape. Plus, he's just kind of a freak. He just came out and said that he's in favor of late-term abortion up to the point of birth. He says, "Oh, that's a choice between the doctor and the mother. What, to marry your fully to murder your fully formed, healthy child is a choice of the mother? I don't think so. We're not talking about a ball of cells here. We're talking about a fully formed, viable baby and murdering. What kind of monsters are these abortion doctors that go in and rip a fully formed, viable child from the mother's womb in the last few weeks of her pregnancy? It's murder. That's murder. It's murder. And yet, Fetterman is in favor of it. He's in favor of releasing what? What was it? A third of prisoners. We have a big enough crime already. He wants to release more prisoners. He wants to legalize heavy, hard drugs. The guy is just awful. If Oz will just step up, we can win the seat and keep the seat pretty easily. It's the seat we need to keep. If we want to flip the Senate, we need to keep the ones we got, right? Well, he's replacing Toomey. Toomey was a never-Trumper. And maybe that's why Oz said, yeah, if I was in the Senate, I would have certified Biden. Maybe he was pandering a bit to those people who were the Toomey fans. I don't know. It just annoyed me when he said that. This is interesting. A solid majority wants Biden gone. They did a poll. Rasmussen poll came out. The majority of voters, including a third of Democrats, support efforts to impeach unpopular Joe Biden. Can you believe that? I believe it. Yeah. The latest president to face the nation's harshest criticism in a new Rasmussen Report survey. And by the way, Rasmussen is not a Republican pollster, not a conservative pollster. The left likes to say that. They're not. Okay. Voters by a margin of 52 to 42%, 10-point margin, support impeachment. That includes 77% of Republicans. I can't believe it's only 77% of Republicans. I think it's probably closer to 100%. 50% of independents, and 32% of Democrats. So 32% of Democrats want to impeach Biden. That's remarkable, right? So we'll see what happens on that. Now, I would think that if you impeach Biden, that you're not going to get him convicted in the Senate because you need 2/3 in the Senate. But who knows? If Biden causes the Democrats to lose a lot of seats in the House and lose the Senate, the Democrats may want to get rid of him, may want to impeach him and get rid of him or force him to resign. I think it's more likely they will force him to resign. And right before he resigns, his final act would be to pardon Hunter Biden, probably pardon himself if that's possible. And all the bad doers, probably pardon Fauci, you know, pardon Mayorkas, pardon Merrick Garland. List goes on and on. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens on that. Okay, we're going to close out the show tonight, and send our prayers to the family of the Queen of England. She passed away. She lived a good long life. As Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Britain's Queen Elizabeth II, age 96, ending her 70-year reign. That's a long time. The Queen died at Balmoral, her private Scottish home, this afternoon at the age of 96. Folks, by the time you're 96, you've done your bit. You've done your bit. You're ready to go home. Humans are not meant to last forever. 96 is a quite old age, and she remained vital right until the very end. And President Trump liked her very much. She was Britain's longest ever reigning monarch at 70 years and 214 days. Yeah. And she died peacefully, they said. So, prayers to her and her family and to all of England that they recover from this. And then, her son is going to become the king, Prince Charles, the king now. So, anyway, folks, thank you for watching the show. And we're here Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We restream the show all day so you can watch it fresh because not everybody can watch it at 8 p.m. at night, right? Some people watch, we get thousands of plays in the middle of the night. It's really amazing because our European audience. So thank you for watching the show. And we always, when we stream it, we have a way of streaming it so that it always remains live so you can still chat and go in there and make your comments. It's never like, one and done and you can watch the replay and you can't chat. You can always chat on our show whenever. And we stream it at 8 p.m. at night and stream it again at, and then for a couple hours and then stream it again at 6 in the morning. Well, actually, we stream it all night long. Then we stream it again, start it again at 6 in the morning so you get a notification on it. And then at noon and then at 5 p.m. at night. And these times, so you always get a notification and know we're on. And then we start the new show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, we do need your support financially to keep the show going. You can reach out to givesendgo.com/The Mitchell Report. Make a donation. When you go there, there's not a big total. We had a fund there that was up to about $9,000. We started to start a new one. So it's just getting started now. So it's brand new. So don't be discouraged if there aren't a lot of donations there yet. We just started it. But you can support us with a single donation or set it up for a monthly donation where, like every month, you support us with $5 and that sort of show. And it really helps. It really adds up. We appreciate that. Also, you can go to mypillow.com. Holidays are coming up. MyPillow.com's got great stuff. And you can get up to 65% off if you use the coupon code YVN, Your Voice Network. So go to mypillow.com/YVN. It'll automatically be in there for you, or you can enter at the end. YVN, and you'll get up to 66% off. It could be like half price on something. It can be, buy one or buy two, get one free. There's lots of different ways, but it's a great way to get a big discount there at mypillow.com. And that's what we call an affiliate deal where we earn a small commission for sending your business. That's it, folks. I'm Bill Mitchell. This is the Mitchell Report. Thank you for watching the show. And we'll be back again tomorrow night. And this will restream all night. And it's 6 in the morning. And then at noon tomorrow, Eastern Time. These are all Eastern Times. At 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, guys. Love you. And we'll see you again